One thing that I hear a lot when people say that they don't believe in law of attraction, that it doesn't exist, is that they have this idea that law of attraction is something that you just, oh, okay, you just close your eyes, you think about, and it just shows up at your door, right? So they always come with this thing like, oh, that's bullshit, it's not a thing, doesn't work, or even it doesn't exist, because it's not enough. You need to do stuff, you need to be efficient, and you need to be productive, and you need to do action, 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 because it's only when you do stuff that you get stuff. So just wanting and just believing is not enough for things to show up. And that is true and is not, because I think when people say these kind of things, first, they don't really understand what law of attraction is and how it works. And second, they believe too much in action, right? They think that what they get in life is because of their doing. So what they do, they get in return. And it's not how it works. It's not how it works. And but this video is not to talk about law of attraction. This video is to show exactly how things really do show up at your door. And this is I say this is my best story, because for me is the best one. For me is the one that is more that had a bigger impact in my life, although it's not even mine, but I'm involved in the story. And then I also have another one that could be considered the best one, and it's a shorter one, so maybe at the end I'll tell that one also. So this one happened even before I knew about law of attraction, even before I knew about anything about this kind of stuff, really. And it was some years before, and it was something, it's that kind of things that you just, even me and my brothers, because it involved my mom and my brothers, and we're like, what the hell? Like, how did this happen? How is this possible? But it's the kind of things that you say, oh my god, like, this is a coincidence. It's a coincidence, but still, like, it's the things that makes us giggle inside, because it's so amazing. And that's how law of attraction really is, right? Because that's how it seems. Then that is like, how, and things just show up from nowhere. But it's not from nowhere. So this story, like I was saying, was years ago, because it was years before I knew about any of this, so it was probably like 10 years ago. And the thing is, my mom, even when we were little, like about 10 years old, she got some land from the family, from, how do you say, like, when the parents split their stuff, and she got a piece of land, and we didn't really, like, not really, like, she was a divorced mom, she was making the minimum wage, she had 3 kids. This land was from something from the past, so it's not something that our family had, even the grandparents or anything that had money. So it was just the land, and because the situation was really complicated, and the place that we are renting was, we're going to lose it because the owner wanted the house and all that. So and it was a dream of her having her own house. So she starts building the house, and with the help with the friends. And well, again, just in this, it's like, if we say like a person in her situation that built a house, even if it took like 8 years, because it took 8 years like to be done, but still it's quite amazing. Like, when we don't have money for anything, sometimes hardly to eat, like, how you do that. But again, like, people help, and somebody gives something, and then one thing just shows up, But she was very good with that. Actually, my mom knows absolutely nothing about law of attraction, but she can be very good with that, because she doesn't want much from life, because she does not believe that she can have it. But when she wants something and she focuses on that, she always gets it, right? So this house was an example. And the house, like, in the front, it has a little garden, and it was in front of the national road. So there was a lot of traffic in that road. And she, in the beginning, when she was building, because garden is also a big thing for her and plants, and she put 2 small palm trees that somebody gave her, right? 2 little ones. But over those years, as the house was, building the house and all that, years were passing by, she always took a very good care of that garden, like I was saying, because she likes it a lot. And those palm trees also, she always took very, very good care of them. So those palm trees grew and grew and grew. And when like all those times went by, 8 years and then 10 years, and it was beautiful, beautiful, the most beautiful palm trees, right? And huge, huge, right in the front of the house. Well, we all love those palm trees because they were beautiful, they gave some privacy to the house and all that. And my mom always loved them until it got to a point, like God knows why, she wanted to remove them. Because now there was one day, like she was in the house, it's like, oh, I'm gonna take those palm trees down. And we're like, what? No, we love them. And she's like, yeah, but I want to do this and this. Like she had another vision in her head for that garden. And at the same time, she was worried because, the palm trees were so big and the roots were getting so big that she was worried that any moment, like there was a little, how do you say, or like a division? I don't know how to say in English, but something, that you put to divide the land from the road, and it was made of brick. I don't know. Anyway, she had a little one, it was not too tall, and she was worried that the roots, would grow enough to push that and take that down. So this together with again, like she was already wanting to do something else in that garden, and she wanted to take those palm trees down. Well, we didn't want it, and we didn't want it for more than one reason. One was like, okay, we love those palm trees. Second, okay, it's not a big deal if we change that for something else, but it's like, you don't have the money for that. We don't have the money for that. Again, at that time, we're like living, little money just, so we can buy our food and sometimes, buy a little thing for us. But, his money was really tight. So, and to do something like that would cost money, right? Because we have to hire somebody to come and remove those big, huge palm trees and then, again, fix the land and all that. It's crazy. It would be too much money that she did not have, right? So me and my brothers were trying to take that idea from her head, but all those following days, she wouldn't shut up. She would just keep saying this, and we would try to change her mind, but she would just insist, and she would not even listen to us. She was like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And see, at that time, again, I knew nothing about law of attraction. Now, from what I know and looking back, it makes totally sense, right? Because her focus was on what was going to be. And her focus on what was going to be was so huge that she never even stopped to think, how am I going to do it? Or I can't do it, or I don't have the money to do it. She would not even stop to think about that. She would not even take that in consideration. She was so fixed and in what was going to be. Anyway, this went on for some days, a few days, not many. And one day, it was like 8 o'clock at night, and somebody knocks on the door. And that is not usual, Could be somebody from the family, but normally they don't come like late at night. And if it's not family, like nobody, it's not a usual thing. Somebody just knocks on the door at that time. Anyway, I hear the knock, I go to the door, and there's a man, and I'm thinking, okay, he wants to sell something or whatever. And he's like, oh, are your parents home? And I'm like, well, it's my mom, but what you want? Can I help you? And he's like, I want to speak with your mom because, you see, this is a bit crazy, but I've been, I bought a property, he said, and I went by your house because, like, it's in front of the National Road. It's like, I pass here every day, and I see your palm trees, and they are so beautiful, like, and I really would like to have palm trees in my property, but the ones I see, like, it didn't like them that much, the ones that he was seeing around even to buy. And it's like, I really would like those palms, like you was feeling, you know, you was trying to be careful because, you know, you just don't show up at somebody's door and say, I want something you have, but it was like, you know, because I really like them. And I noticed because he's a construction business, like, oh my God, how do we say, I was gonna say worker, but he's not, he's the owner, okay? He's the owner of a construction company. So he builds houses and stuff like that. So you were saying, I noticed that you need some work done because in the house, like, well, the house even like was not totally finished from the outside, and even like the when you come in, like the entrance, you know, if you want to drive a car up, like we would leave our cars in the front because the part where you could or around, because the part that you can drive through to get to the cars to the back of the house was not done. So it was like in a I shouldn't do this video in English anyway, but anyway, it was not done. It was not cement or anything. So especially in the winter, if it would rain, it would get, you know, muddy and holes and all stuff. So the cars could not just go through. And there was other things to finish. So he said, you know, because I do this, it's my profession, in exchange, I can finish this up for you. I can do this and leave it ready and perfect, you know, and do this and do that, and I, you know, I remove the palm trees and I make sure that the land is nicely done, and I fix the garden the way you want and all that. So I'm there at the door listening to this, and I'm trying the hardest as I can to remain serious and not, because, you know, as soon as he starts speaking, I was like, hey, okay, he cannot know that we you know, we wanted to do that, because, you know, my mom was gonna find a way to do that, and of course she would find a way to do it as cheap as she could, you know, and help with people and stuff, but still she would have to pay to do something like that. And now is somebody here that would do it for free and still would give us something in return. So I tried to be as serious as I could, and I went inside and I very quietly, I told my mom, and I was like, Mom, there's a man at the door. He said this and this and this and this. Do not tell him that you already wanted to take those palm trees down, you know, just listen and say, okay, it's a good deal, you know, and something that I want, and okay. So that's what she did, and I hope he never sees this video. I don't think he will anyway. So this was many years ago anyway, but you know, we had to take advantage of the situation, right? And again, he took something beautiful and he gave something in return, in exchange. So this is something that happened, and we all like were just laughing, and it's like, how is like, you know, it just shows up at your door. So even years later, sometimes even me, for instance, I remember once I was speaking with my brother, and he was like talking about because he would like to move to another place and get a house there, and he was looking on internet, you know, and he's like, and I was like, no, you have to go there, go and look, because sometimes people, you know, they have the signs, you know, on the buildings and stuff, and you know, and you people are not just going to show up at your, like, if you don't go looking for it, people are just going to show up at your door and say, do you want this? And then we just start laughing. It's like, well, yeah, people do show up at your door, because we always go back to that story, and once in a while we remember, and every time we remember, we start laughing because it's amazing. So, and then again, when I start learning about law of attraction, and that's why it's more than believing. It's, for me, it's like, how can anybody not see that this is true? Because we all, it's impossible not to have examples in your life of this happening, because it happens all the time, right? It happens all the time. In little things, in big things, it doesn't matter, but it happens all the time. Anyway, for me, that is the best story. That is my best story of law of attraction. The other one that I was talking about, I could, at the time, I could totally see the correlation, you know, because it's on those times, you know, that things are hard and it's not going okay, and then you manage to clear your energy, and you can feel it, and you can feel when you're lighter, when your energy is lighter, and something just clears, and then that's boom, when something good happens, right? And this good thing that happened was, I was in my house. This time I was some years ago. I was living in my apartment, and I had my own apartment, and I have hanging those curtains of little strings, right? And the strings are like a brown, chocolate brown, and it has kind of a little goldish, giving it like a little gold tone. But it's just little. Like when you look, you see brown, and it's also those little strings. And once, I was just cleaning, just doing like this, to remove the dust and whatever, and something fell on the floor. And it was a gold necklace, right? And a big gold necklace that then I end up selling. And another time, there was a time that the gold was valued high, so I would get more money, but still at that time that was already low. I got like 200 euros for it, right? And I didn't went to many places, because when you go around in many places, then you can, search for the ones that gives you a little bit more. But anyway, 200 euros was good, right? And it just fell on the floor. And the thing is, I had those curtains for some years already, right? I've been in the house for 3-4 years already. At the time when I bought those curtains. I removed them from the package. You have to put them straight. Many times I had to put them straight because I had my dog, just running around, and sometimes he would just do a mess with it. So I would just, take the knots out of it and all that. And suddenly on that day, that thing happens. And first I thought, maybe it was my niece, because she was in my house some weeks before, and it was like, okay, maybe she had a necklace, and for some reason she lost it and it just got stuck in here. So I was convinced that was from her, but it was not. She said she never had a necklace like that. And then I asked other people of my family, and nobody had, and that was not mine. And I'm like, what? Has this necklace been here all the time and I never ever saw it? Like, how is it even possible? You push the curtains to one side, you push them, push them to the other side, and even at the time, and all the things that I know I have done with those curtains. I cut them because they were too long. Anyway, I hang them, and suddenly that gold necklace just falls off. And I have no idea where it came from. I have no idea if it had always been there, or when could have that happened. Who was it from? The only explanation is like, okay, when it was being made, right? When somebody was packing it and it just got lost. And because it was gold and it has that kind of goldy things on the brown, it just got locked in there, and I never saw it. I don't know. Anyway, this is could be for some people the best story, but for me it's the palm trees for sure. So maybe other times I say a few more stories about law of attraction. It won't be as dramatic as this one's, maybe. For me they are, but not to tell. So that's why I like to tell this one.